All right, I think we are. I believe we're live.
Can you see paint in my beard? Really? No. Okay, good. I've been painting all day, and so I have like white speckles everywhere.
um,
It's not that bad. All right.
all right, we are live. Let me just
Oh, do I need to
fix.
take my shirt off?
Wait for the big announcement.
Okay. I was gonna get, dude. I still have my Letterman jacket from high school. I was gonna put it
Oh my
on.
god, that is so
I know, but
funny.
then I didn't. I didn't. I didn't want to be that disappointed with my weight gain, so I didn't.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm just fixing up the Zoom here. Why won't it let me? Oh, that's why I did this here. Oh god. Here, transform. Oh god. Why won't it let me do it? Oh, there we go. That's weird. Okay. And then there we go. All right, we're set. I'm gonna pull up. I don't know how to. Let's see here. The only way I know how to do it is go through the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just have the thing up. All right. If everyone in the chat can confirm they hear both me and Colton, and then once we reach 300 viewers, Colton has agreed to take his shirt off. So
Look, I only got 1 day in the gym. Okay, it's not that impressive. So
he said he was there all day, just pumping iron.
12 straight hours. I drank so many protein shakes.
Oh, we got a few new people here. Hello. Hello, hello. I can hear you both. All right, everyone could hear us. Well,
18 watching. Oh fuck, that number's going up.
all right, all right. 282.
Oh god.
282 more viewers. Once we get to 100, Colton will take off his pants, but we're not as concerned about that.
we hit triple digits. I will take this shirt off. I will do it. All for the likes. Nipples will be visible. Is that Facebook or YouTube compliant? I don't even know.
There's only one way to find out. Oh, Trinity, that's Roxanne. Roxanne has a niece, and her name is Trinity. Isn't that crazy?
What?
And her last name is Mitchell. That's insane.
No.
No, I don't know
No,
about
it's
the
not.
Mitchell part, but her name is
Oh,
Trinity.
I was like, what?
Yes,
That's
hello,
funny.
hello, Crystal. Crystal's a fan of back in the day, the seasons 1 through 4. Trinity just goes. I told her it wasn't be nudity.
Sorry to disappoint Trinity. Very conservative today.
Yes, Crystal. Thank you for coming. Jacob, you may not like me by the end of this episode because ooh, that's all I have to say. I am.
Me and Jacob about to become best friends.
Yeah. So we're not recording yet, but I definitely want to keep throwing this out there. Guys, send your emails. Oh my God, Crystal, you're from the beginning of 6 Feet Under. That's right. I'm sorry. It's been so long. Wow. When did I end 6 Feet Under? 2018. That's 3 years and a child and a marriage ago. Yes. So thank you for being here for the fitting finale. Yeah. What was I gonna say? If you haven't done so, I know I'll talk about this a little bit more in depth in the actual podcast, but I definitely want to do a Zoom next week, and it sucks that we all have to wait a week, but like I need time for my mind to reset on everything. But I definitely want to do a Zoom next week, and maybe we'll just like go around the Zoom, depending on what the order is, and everyone can bitch about or profess their love for Dexter, or if you guys just want to talk because you guys are just names to me, and it would be cool to like put faces to names. And if you want to talk about life, if you want to
Talk
solve
about Dexter, not talk about Dexter, like anything.
solve your relationship problems. Talk
We
about
can't do that.
talk about how how disappointed you were that Colton didn't take his shirt off. Um, we could discuss all of that. But
If we
everyone
get
email
200 on that one, I'll take my shirt off.
everyone email diggingdexter@gmail.com. This way I just have your email and I could blast everyone. Um, it's so funny. Do you remember we were talking about IMDb? Well, the Dexter finale season 8 is at like a 4 point. Oh God.
It's low.
But what's funny? This finale started at like a 6 and it's creeping right up to this almost feels like watching the election where it's like you keep watching. So remember the monsters at 4.6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dexter New Blood, the finale, it's at 4.7. Earlier this morning when I woke up, it was like at a 5.2, and I guess right now everyone's getting out. Now everyone's seen it, right? Like all the spoilers are out and everything.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna dip below. And again, it means nothing, right? Because it's just people.
I mean, yeah, because there's movies that have horrible ratings that I love, and then there's movies out there that have fantastic ratings, which I think they're the dumbest movies I've ever seen. So I don't pay it a lot of attention.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Rotten Tomatoes.
I was
right?
just going to
Like,
say, there was a time with Rotten Tomatoes, I was sacred to Rotten Tomatoes. And then I think I forget what movie it was, came out and like it was like certified fresh or whatever the fuck it was. And I was like, yo, screw every review out there. If I want to see it, I'll see it. I trust your opinion more than I trust a reviewer. But please listen to this podcast.
But by the way, we have our own rating system and it's flawless. So
yes. This podcast is a 10 out of 10. That's certified IMDb fresh. Dylan in the chat, I emailed you back. I want to know if I could play your audio. We should just start the actual episode because I'm talking. What?
Hold on one second. I just have to edit.
Go ahead.
Video. I didn't realize I was using my integrated camera and not my fancy dancy camera.
Yes, Jacob, I got your email. I definitely want you in there next week. Yeah, there's so much to get into here. God, there's so many. I guess I don't want to pollute the actual conversation, but I was just reading comments today. I think I saw one that was like, "This was so bad, I now have a dark passenger." I wish I came up with that joke on my own. What was the other one? Oh yeah, I saw people replying to our friend Scott Reynolds with like, "Hey, my internet works just fine. It's not broken." People are mean, man. If you want to go to Scott Reynolds' Twitter right now, people are mean.
I'm gonna kind of
yeah
for just a minute. I'll say I will definitely say some stuff on it though. So
you left the Zoom, you know that, right?
Yeah, I'm coming right back in. I'm doing it. My camera. I'm trying to figure something out just really quick on this.
Everyone said if you're coming back, just to please be shirtless.
Okay.
As soon as you get back in, we'll get started.
Okay, I'm just not gonna be able to use my web camera. Fuck it. I don't look bad though, right? Or I didn't. I mean, I always look bad, but.
Take your shirt off and I'll tell you.
Okay. flashy. A little hairy flashy.
Oh my
That's as
god,
close
I,
as
t-
we're
I
getting.
totally forgot. I was so busy, but we have a returning, much like Batista returning this season. We have our friend Zach finally returning. I got an email timeline from him. I've been meaning to email you, Zach,
Oh.
the entire season, and I just kept forgetting. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been meaning to email you all season, Zach. I'm glad you joined us for the end here. As fitting or not fitting as that may be. But yes, thank you. And he gave me a precise timeline. If we get in a jam this episode, I will be able to bring it up. All right, if you're ready, we can go ahead.
I am ready.
All right, let me start here. Okay.
Shut up, cunt.
All right.
Freaking gets old.
All right. This is Victor, and now that he's had his last tuna sandwich and was shot in the chest by his son, who we met 2 weeks ago, I'm joined by Colton. Colton.
Man, what a fucking 2 weeks it's been. It
Welcome.
almost feels like it's been 2 months.
Welcome to the series finale of Dexter New Blood. Whether that's series or season, I guess we'll talk about it in a bit. First thing right off the bat, I want to say I don't want to say as a thank you, but as just like a we've been talking this whole season, sharing stuff and whatnot. We're going to do a Zoom next Saturday, January 15th. I don't know, 9-10 p.m.-ish, sometime around there. Maybe I'll get the Zoom started and then just come back to it. But we want to do a Zoom hangout just to hang out with everyone. Praise Dexter, complain about Dexter, complain about life, complain about your job, talk about anything. I just want to like hang out and drink, the closest I'll get to going out and hanging out with people. So email us at diggingdexter@gmail.com and make sure I have your email, and then I'll just, when I set it up, I'll blast email and invite everyone. Again, 9-10 o'clock-ish next Saturday Eastern time. Maybe as we get closer, I'll have a more set time, or, whether you guys want to make it into a podcast, that's fine by you. I'm not doing any editing, so like whatever happens goes. I don't know if I probably won't be a podcast, but definitely just come hang out, even if it's just to say hi. We want to say hi back. Rumor has it, again, the word on the street is that Colton might be shirtless for that. We're not sure. Mm-hmm. The only way to find out is to be there next week. Mm-hmm. This episode, the finale. There was so much going on last week that I did not get to address this even after I told him I would address this. You know how we always throw out questions, and for the most part, we never got any. We always said, yeah, just send in questions, random shit, and we'll talk about it on air. That was more so like in the seasons 1 through 8. Well, I guess for you, 6, 7, and 8, where we were trying to like fill time. But I got a question that I thought it's almost good that I held it until this week. And again, just last week because of Scott Reynolds joined us. I was a little out of my element. But Johnny Campbell on Instagram sent me this question, and I think it's a decent starting point for where we are at with this finale. His question: do you remember the Clyde Phillips comment that the finale will break the internet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of course, yeah.
Do you think Clyde Phillips' comment about the ending blowing the internet up was just for hype? Because for the most part, people think they have a good idea of how the show will end, and I'd say it's a pretty predictable. Unless there's some real crazy twist in the next 2 episodes, I don't think anybody will be surprised by the ending. So do you think, now with hindsight, do you think Clyde Phillips' comment about this will break the internet, I think was the blow up or
I
break.
couldn't remember if it was him or if it was Scott. I knew one of them.
It was
said
Clyde. It was
I-
Clyde.
Okay, it was Clyde. I couldn't remember which one said it, but I absolutely remember the statement that this is. I think it was almost verbatim. Like Dexter, we're coming back. This will be a new season, and it's going to have an ending that will break the internet. I think it was almost like the exact wording,
So,
if I remember right.
with that in mind, do you think Clyde Phillips said that as hype, or do you think he truly believed this was a ending that would break the internet? And I'm assuming he meant that in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that
That's a good question, actually. I think he's a fucking liar, and I think Clyde, if you're listening, I'm totally joking. Clyde, if you're listening, I'm totally joking. No, I think part of it was definitely marketing, and I'm not gonna hate on the man for doing that. He's getting his show out there. It's business. I get it. I'm
Right.
not gonna at all say that. Like I think that it was part of it was business, but I think part of it was a sincere thing that he thinks that this ending, compared to what we had originally, that this is the ending. Dexter, as we've talked about before, is one of the most talked about, if not the most talked about, worst endings ever. And people are expecting something better. And so let's do it. Let's go balls to the wall. And I think that he thinks that this is it. I don't necessarily, I say I don't agree with it, but it's also, there's a lot of hyperboil in there. So
yeah.
is that the right word? I can't remember.
You said it perfect.
Did I actually?
No.
No, I didn't.
It's just funny. You said hyperboil. It's
It was
hyperboil. Kirk was
crawfish boil. Crawfish boil.
Kirk was just speaking in hyper crawfish boils. So
yeah, you get what I'm saying.
So I think he was just hyping it, and I think I guess let me say this. Something tells me that there was a different ending, and somewhere along the line they pivoted the ending, because I don't think some stuff adds up. And I guess this is the place to bring it up now. Scott Reynolds, again, writer, been with the show since season 1, who joined us last week, tweeted out Friday or Saturday that there was going to be an announcement Monday, which would lead most people to speculate season 2 or a Harrison spinoff. Anything.
That tweet kind of made me mad. I'm not gonna lie. That tweet kind of made me mad.
It definitely did. And I think, I don't know, man. I feel in like such a haze about everything. But to answer your question, I think Clyde Phillips, I think that was a hype tweet, and I think he misread how this was going to go down. So I think he's a little bit of both.
Okay, I'm going to put my little conspiracy theory hat on real quick. And one, I 100% believe there is more than one ending that they filmed.
I think so too.
I'm willing to bet you there is 3, give or take 3 endings. I'm willing to bet you that they have an ending with Angela killing Dexter. They have an ending with Dexter getting away. They have this ending right here. And there may even be something along the lines of Dexter killing Harrison or Dexter killing Angela or something like that. I fully believe they worked out all of these. And I don't think they knew what the ending was until probably last week. Or even, you got to realize with modern TV, a lot of people may know this and may not know this. They change stuff up until the day of sometimes at this point. Like right before it airs, they easily can go through and change things. South Park is notorious for doing this. And granted, with that type of show, it's a little bit easier. But with this one, they can still do it. And so I think that up until basically the week before, they didn't know what ending they were going to choose. And they were kind of reading the room, essentially, about what was going on. Now, that brings me into saying, though, with and the big reason I'm mad at what Scott tweeted out on that is either A, Monday, he better have some big-ass announcement that is huge that I can't think of, or B, if he doesn't say that this is the biggest, I'm just trolling y'all, that's the only way that I'm going to get past him. If he comes out and is like, we're doing Dexter with Harrison, and that's the big announcement, like, well, no shit, we kind of figured that out. So I get it, he was on the podcast, but that tweet, I don't know what it is, that just really rubbed me the wrong way. And he's on, isn't he? He's in the background. He's going to come on. Hey, Colton.
And let's welcome in Scott and Clyde. All I want to say
damn
is, all I want to say is, in the chat we have Roxanne and Trinity starting to write up what happens if Dexter was in L.A. And I'd kindly ask that by the end of this podcast, I would like to see an entire. I'll give you 6 episode arc. Yeah, an entire script, because they started with board shorts and weed instead of killing, and that's a good start. So come up with your who the villain's gonna be, and we'll start that podcast as soon as this episode's
You know what
over.
he would look like? He would look like
David Fisher in 6 Feet Under.
David Fisher in the last episode, the flashback, or the last episode with Nathan.
Yeah.
He would look like that. Remember when they were in the van?
So we were throwing out predictions, and for the most part, everyone got it wrong. There were two predictions I want to play, but for the most part, I think lots of people, they got pretty in depth, but just swing and a miss. I think I got one. I think one from Kevin. There was just huge. I think the ending was Harrison was Trinity's killer. I compliment them for him and everyone for taking big swings, but more so, there's 2 I want to play. I want to start with the one who got it closest, and I cut it down a little bit only because she predicted a lot of the episode, but she pretty much nailed the ending, and I was in agreement with her. And this is obviously from Jen. Let me again, I just clipped some of it because she got like, and this is no fault of her, she got like the first half wrong, but she kind of nailed the second part. So let's play that here.
Meanwhile, Angela, she has contacted Miami Metro and talks either with Batista or Masuka, and kind of confirm some of her suspicions that Dexter may have not only killed Matt, Kurt, and Jasper, he also was most likely the Bay Harbor Butcher. The police chase that we see is all of the cops racing out to Kurt's cabin after the trophies are found. The last scene is Harrison in a kill suit with Dexter on the table, and Deb is there as well. Deb is telling Dexter that he deserves to die for his crimes, and he agrees, and then Harrison puts a knife in his chest and he dies, and fade to black. And that's what I think. So hopefully it'll be close. I doubt it will. I'm not really good at speculation, but thank you guys so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.
That was really close.
Out of everyone who sent in stuff, she was the closest. You know, if we were playing,
That was way better than mine.
if we were playing Price is Right, she said $1 and she nailed it. I was in full agreement with her. I thought they were gonna do the ending kill. I've said this already. Replicating, right? Like she said, plastic in the room, Harrison in the kill suit, even like wearing the thermal and everything. But, and then we got this was another prediction which was completely off the mark, but I'm playing it for one specific reason, and this is from Dylan, who's always with us in the chat, and the reason why I'm playing this is literally for the last 5 seconds, and it just starts off so funny to me. I'm not making fun of you, Dylan. I just love how this was all put together.
All right. Angela calls Masuka, and Masuka tells her all about the Bay Harbor Butchers. Then Angela tells Masuka that Dexter's alive, and Masuka starts putting it all together. That's when Angela goes and arrests Dexter for Molly Parker's disappearance. But Angela doesn't have enough information on Dexter to, put him away or anything, so Dexter gets out. And so Dexter goes home, and Harrison's there. He has the kill room already set up, prepared for Dexter. He gets Dexter because Dexter wasn't expecting it. So Dexter's on the table, he's kind of in wonderment, with his kid over him and everything. It's one of those moments in Dexter where it's just a bliss. And then all of a sudden, Angela comes popping in the door. And she tells Harrison to get Dexter back up off the table. Dexter gets away. I'm not sure how, but he gets away. He's running through the woods, and all of a sudden, end credits. And then there's one last little blip of a picture of Dexter in an astronaut suit.
It's still better than my theory. It's still better than mine.
I just thought it was so funny. When I heard it, I spit out my water, and I was like, wait, did I just hear him correct?
Oh my gosh, Dylan, you're the best.
Man, I wish I would, like, and it's so funny because, like, looking back on it, and then, like, just how, like, you know, knowing what the ending is, and then just the way it starts with. Dylan, that was absolutely great. I'm so happy you sent that, but oh, thank you for that, Dylan.
I really hope he is on. I really hope
he was on, but if anything, I hope he hears this.
No, I hope he's on like for next week. Like,
yeah.
This is.
Oh God, I thought that was so good. And you know what's funny too with that? My mind went there. That all of a sudden I just saw like the cut to black, and then just Dexter like in his suit in space, like. Oh my God. All right. So now we can get into the actual episode. I want to state clearly, there's so much. So at the bare minimum, this finale was decisive, right? There's the camp that hates it. There's the camp that loves it. I don't remember, but the internet wasn't the internet like it was back in 2013. But my feeling was it was generally disliked.
Okay.
This one, I want to say I definitely think there's more hate the ending versus like the ending, although the like the ending people are out there. I think me and you were in agreement that Dexter had to die.
Yes.
So I want to say I am not mad at the finale for killing Dexter. I think it was deserved. I think it's about 5 seasons too late, but I'm glad they did it. What I am most upset about is the execution and the overall season-long run. So go ahead.
This is what I'm curious. No, and I'm actually curious to hear your, because you and me, we talked probably more on this episode outside of the podcast than we've done on any episode. So I'm actually really excited because I think you and me are in the two camps. So I like that.
The episode synopsis, going back to our thing about two endings, two theories. I don't know if you saw what the episode synopsis was. To me, it just didn't connect to what the episode brought us. So if you were to read the little blurb about what the episode was, this is via Showtime, right? They say, says Sins of the Father. Dexter and Harrison try to live a normal life in a place that they have discovered is not as normal as they thought it was. Will the two of them be able to live happily ever after, despite all the threats coming their way? I don't feel like that's what happened this episode.
No.
It made me think that Iron Lake was this like secret cult or something.
Not at all. Because I mean, literally, the episode starts with about how him talking about how nice this place is and how great everybody is, and that's why he can't stay there. Is that the big shocker? Ah, crap! I live in an amazing community. Shit.
I love where I live. So it just that just makes me a little. My ears perk up when I see an episode synopsis like that, and it doesn't fulfill that at all. So, I think, well, let's go to what I wanted to do. I wanted, since me and Colton are on two camps, and this is not contrived. I did ask something of Colton last week that, for whatever reasons, the God made it work that Colton wasn't on the interview, but I was telling Colton, like, hey, please don't ask Scott any tough questions. And then it turns out the 18 other podcasts Scott did, they all asked him the tough questions, and everyone went to the other podcast to get the answers about the M99 and the ketamine and stuff. I
didn't know that. Okay.
So I guess as we get into the episode, Scott explained it as M99 and ketamine gets confused in autopsies all the time, and part of the reason why they went to ketamine was because Michael C. Hall's song was named Ketamine. So that's where it's excuse me. I think it's really dumb, but we're gonna get there.
I was gonna say he's really trying to. Okay.
So,
okay. Sure.
And I went against my moral integrity and asked. I asked Colton to go against his moral integrity and to not press Scott too much on stuff. And in hindsight, it turns out all I should have done is press Scott. But I thank him. I thank him for his time. But I got in terms of just being star-studded, so that's my fault. With that being said, what I wanted to do here was me and Colton we're going to get a minute each, and what Colton is going to do is he's going to defend the finale, or basically in a quick bite-size minute, tell us what he liked about the finale, and then I am going to tell you everything I disliked the finale, but we only have 1 minute to do so, and then we'll get into the actual episode. So, Colton, would you rather go first, or do you want me to go first? Because I don't think I have I don't have a minute. Okay, you're gonna go first.
No, mine's probably gonna be over a minute. I thought you said I got 10 minutes, and I was like, oh.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I got more. I got like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, I can do it in a minute though.
Okay,
I can do it in a minute. Let me go. Hold on. Let me go do some coke real quick.
All right. So Colton, when you are ready, let me know, and I will start the timer.
All right, I'm ready.
And go.
Okay, so obviously Dexter dies, like that about the ending. I do like how they didn't go with the classic him on the bed. I thought that was really nice. Instead, they actually had Harrison killing him, and it was an emotional killing versus a killing of need. I thought that was well done. The drive-away scene, the last we're hearing of Dexter, and the last phrasing that we get from him is, to me, what was the key opponent and what actually brought this together for me is if Dexter's showing, or if Harrison is showing
30
his
seconds.
Passenger his darkness, then to call him, but if not, leave him be, because if Dexter comes into his life, he is going to kill him, and obviously he doesn't. Now, how we get there is a little bit sloppy, but again, real world can be sloppy. I'm willing to look past that because of it. Out. Not even a minute.
48 seconds. Whew, that's tough to.
Did I ever tell you that I lettered in debate in high school?
Wait, really?
Yeah. I lettered in. It's funny. I lettered in 3 things, and it's always gonna like make people laugh because of who I am today. I lettered in debate, I lettered in band, and I lettered in cross country.
Oh no! I thought you were gonna say math.
No, oh God. Yeah, no, my fat ass used to be able to run.
Oh my God. Well, it was a good defense. Let me swing my 2-inch penis here and slam the episode. And again, I have to do a lot of button pressing here, but I'm going to give myself a minute as well. And
I was like, do you want me to pull up my little timer?
I guess you can. I'm definitely not going to fill a minute. If you want to pull yours up, and then I'll start the timer. I mean, I'll start the audio timer.
Okay. I've got it up. You tell me when.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I am ready on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Huge plot holes that weren't necessary. Kurt finding out about Dexter didn't make sense and was never corrected. The Bay Harbor Butcher plot not amounting to anything, sitting on a retcon of ketamine, or M99, to show Batista and then not have the confrontation. What Angela had against Dexter would have not held up in court, all circumstantial, and was surprised that Dexter didn't realize or know any of this. That's what's out of his character. There's 3 cops in the town. Harrison was here less than 3 weeks, went from hating his dad, loving dad, to shooting dad based on a wrestling coach. He arrived as a nomad, dying to meet his dad, shows up, kills his dad. Left town, also again being a nomad. How did Angela know where
15 seconds.
How did Angela know where Dexter and Harrison were? A slap in the face to the original series.
52-93. I did mine faster. I win.
Yeah. Damn it. 1-0 Colton. All right.
I think we got some good talking points. I think we both have some really good talking points to get into on this one. I actually do.
Something else. Yes. It's almost like something I was too worried about the timing and whatever, but like, it's funny. I think like I agree with what you said. I like the Dexter Harrison scene. It's just like everything else is just so bad to me. Something that was just brought up in the chat, that it's something that we've talked about, and I find it so ironic that this is where we ended up. This was a 10-episode limited series, and I always talked about how every season of Dexter should have been 10 episodes. They had to put so much filler with an extra 50 minutes. What is that? 100 minutes of filler. And then it turns out, I was so happy this was going to be 10 episodes. And then it turns out this season, I feel like, could have benefited from 2 more episodes. I think when we
I don't agree.
so let me ask you this. Are you satisfied with where they left off with the Bay Harbor Butcher? Oh.
I really am.
Ooh.
This might be a long episode. I'm telling you, dude, we may actually have a really good long episode. We're obviously not going to get each other to agree. Like, let's go ahead and say that. Like, we're not here. I'm not here to convince you to vote for this candidate. You're not here to convince me to vote for this candidate. We're not. It's not going to happen. We may at least get an opposite side. Like, okay, now I can kind of see why you are liking this. Or, yeah, I get why you don't like that. You know, I really think we're going to have a good discussion on it.
Okay, so I'm going to hold the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff for when we get there. So I will say, if I'm in the if you're fine with the 10 episodes, fine. The reason why I think it's ironic is I felt like they had so much to answer with the final episode, and then it turns out, again, my opinion, that they didn't answer all of them. So with how much they had left over and not solving something as like the Bay Harbor Butcher, it's ironic to me that they could have benefited from 2 more episodes. With all that being said, I think we should just get into the actual episode and we could actually talk about some of this stuff.
I think that's good. Yeah.
Let me make sure my sounds are up here.
Shut up, cunt.
What? Wrong one.
You give me every fucking time.
Our episode starts out and the actual episode ends with a nice overhead shot of Iron Lake, and we have voiceover of Molly, her podcast that she was creating. As much as I want to slam this New Blood limited series, I think something they nailed right, and it had to be a tricky proposition, was picking a fictional place like Iron Lake, but they just nailed it. You know,
I want to go on vacation here. I feel like this is a real town, and they're just lying. Like, I feel like this town, they were like, hey, let's film in Iron Lake, New York. And Iron Lake was like, look, you can film here, but you have to say it's fake because we don't want a bunch of tourists in this place, okay?
It's like Wakanda.
Yes.
I think they did a proper send-off for this little town in Massachusetts, wherever it is. They absolutely nailed it. Again, I think, like we spoke last episode, Miami was a character, and I feel like at certain times that Iron Lake was a character. Guys, I'm so sorry. In the chat, you guys are having great conversation.
I keep going back.
I
and
know
forth to it.
they're just like they're in
it.
like great spots of what they're talking about, but it's hard to like actually because they're talking about all the evidence of the Bay Harbor Butcher, and it's like if we don't save that for when we get there, we're just gonna talk about that for the entire
again and again and again. Yeah.
So at least
yeah.
want to cover
y'all are
some
amazing.
of it.
Just so we're clear on that.
Yes, Zach, Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts, is where they are. Zach showing up at the finale is like Batista showing up in episode 5. It was like, oh fuck, there he is. And something else I just realized that I can't believe I just realized this. I guess us as fans made way bigger of a deal that Trinity was going to be here than they actually was. They had a 10-second. What? It wasn't even 10 seconds. What was it? We saw his hot, sexy thigh in blood.
I don't even think that. I don't even think that was him.
It might not have even been him. And 5 seconds of his face saying "Come to Daddy" or something, and that was it.
I'm not gonna lie. That was funny. That's a troll move, and they know what they did. I'm dying laughing.
To be fair, I think us as fans speculated a lot more than they actually said. But when you hear the biggest villain of the 8 seasons of Dexter was coming back, obviously in flashback or dream form, I just can't believe like that's what they gave us. There has to be something else out there. Every
Redditor that posted, "Oh, it's going to be Harrison's Dark Passenger." I'm going to spend the next week hunting down all those posts, and I'm going to comment, "Yeah, it wasn't, was it?" Yeah, I'm just going to copy and paste that shit because it was everywhere.
Oh God, I mean, yeah. It's so funny, and I didn't have the time, but I wish I could go back and listen to some of our episodes talking about New Blood, because I was sure, 1,000% sure, when Dexter is looking at the scalpel blade, it was going to flash back to his scene with Harrison, and I'm shocked that didn't happen that way. So be it. Angela drives into town to start her interrogation. And then she passes the Iron Lake sign, and I just pointing that out because then the episode ends with Harrison driving away that same Iron Lake sign. Angela tells Dexter that the fire was started by an accelerant. Harrison gets this letter jacket, and as Harrison and Dexter pack up their car, Angela finds the titanium screw from Matt's community cremation. So if I wanted to be a crazy nitpick here, we are talking about I think this season takes place over 2.5 weeks. Look at Zach to the rescue. I want to say the first episode was December 9th. December 8th. Zach has it as December 8th to the 26th. So that's about just under 3 weeks. I think the Harrison storyline and his integration into Iron Lake was rather accelerated. I am willing to let that be.
Yeah. Okay, good. I was going to say, but I can look past it.
I can. They've asked us to swallow so much. Fine. I'll go with this too. Dexter and Harrison are talking about leaving, and they, say possibly Los Angeles. I think the conversation between Harrison and Dexter, where they're trying to figure out how it works with like finding people to kill, even the way Harrison just goes to him, he says something like, I didn't get the exact quote, but something like, and then we take down the bad people or something. It felt like a little kid and a dad having a conversation, just the way I was just like, and then do people die, go to heaven? And it's like, yes, my son.
Well, but even you're saying that, and I actually got part of that as well. When he's sitting there, and of course, what does Dexter say? Well, let's go to L.A., like, let's go to Los Angeles. And I'm like, of course you want to go to L.A. Like, that's where everybody goes to escape and start a new life. Like, like I feel like that's what you're telling your son anyway. Is like, and of course, in my head, I'm sitting there, well, are they saying that like as a joke because the show was actually filmed in L.A. versus Miami when he makes a little like statement about the humidity and stuff like that? But then I was like, no, I also feel like in his fantasy world, that's what he's in Dexter's own fantasy world in his head. He's sitting there like, no, LA is it. LA is where I'll stop. Like, this is where we can be happy and we'll never get caught. And
Well, I think he says Harrison that's where we can continue.
Right.
big city, get lost in like the people.
Mhm.
I think this is where I just want to state I spent most of the finale legit laughing out loud. I LOL'd watching this finale.
Okay.
And this is where some of it starts, where I feel like last week Harrison was like, I'm fucking ready to kill. I want my shit. I want my knives. And then, like, this is hours later. Harrison just starts to subtly be pulling away, just not as he enthusiastic as he was literally hours earlier. That's where I was like, wait a second. I know Harrison's going to kill Dexter. At least that was my prediction. I just can't believe this is the slow decline there. But we can plot on top of it as we go on.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Later that night, we see Angela in her car, somewhat angry, and sends Audrey and Harrison to get crushed red pepper and Parmesan from the store. And I think we know something is off with Angela. I gasped and didn't know that this is where the arrest was coming. Because all we know up to this point is that the screw was there. And I guess that's enough for an arrest. Angela snaps arrest Dexter, and then Logan shows up and he's arrested for the death of Matt Caldwell. Huge problems, but let's keep going on here.
Yeah.
It was ironic that Dexter is like it's so funny. Some of my criticism of how this episode went down was like, how is Dexter not picking up that Angela just wasn't sitting right? But then he
Right.
even goes so far as to be like, hey, this role playing is a little too much. It's like, do you not see how fucking furiously angry she is with a gun at your face?
She's literally pointing a gun at your head, and you're like,
he's like,
huh?
oh, baby, right now. It was also in this scene where I realized I know Dexter's going to die this episode. Dexter, for the rest of the episode, will wear a black turtleneck sweater of sorts. And that's always the television trope of that person's dead, wearing black. And I was like, yep. How are we going to get to where we get there? What?
The other thing I found that I was like, the reason I knew he was going to die, it was, and maybe I don't, again, maybe I'm thinking too much into some of this stuff, but it was this tiny little thing where they made him not a good guy. He looked at the knife. He was willing to reach for that knife and kill Angela. And the fact, that's what I'm assuming. He was like, I'm going to get this knife. She's pointing a gun at me. If he got that knife, he was going to kill her. That's how I'm assuming. Maybe he was going to do it to scare her. But in my head, that's why else does Dexter grab a knife? He stabs people in the fucking heart. So the fact that he was willing to go for that knife to kill Angela, he's not a good person, because Angela fits his code in no way whatsoever. And this is somebody he's been dating. It means, it just, to me, that with that little tiny thing with his hand, I was like, oh no, he's got to die at this point. Like, there was this tiny little thing, I think, kind of, we've grown to love Dexter as a character over this entire shows, and we've always been like, no, he takes out the trash, he does this. But then, like what we talked about with last episode, we're actually seeing more or less like what he actually is, like the creature that he truly is. And it's these little things where it's like, you know what? Like, is this really somebody that you want? Like, is this really somebody you want free and out in the world and stuff like that? And that, I don't know, just that tiny little thing is what like set me in. I guess.
I thought since probably season 6-ish, Dexter needed to die, but like, it's like, if the coach didn't show up, was he going to kill her? I think what this season proved that I think it just went over my head is this whole thing of the code is a total Dexter's an unreliable narrator. I don't have the words for that, but it equates to also the code is complete bullshit, because almost anybody fits the code of don't get caught never kill an innocent. Like almost everyone Dexter is right there. I mean, if he's following the code, he could kill Angela. Don't get caught. Like
Exactly.
and it's like the whole thing is bullshit. But let's plow ahead here.
Yeah.
At Iron Lake, Angela's interrogating Dexter, and I think we get something here that I realized towards the end of this episode. I love the callbacks when the show is working for me, or like I didn't have the whole picture in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm watching it and I don't like what this series overall did, I cringe with these callbacks because, hey, can you state your name for the camera? I'm Dexter Morgan. Hello, Dexter Morgan. It's like, oh, God, I get it. What are you going to eat now?
Oh.
What?
I kind of liked. No, okay, yeah, the hello Dexter Morgan, that was a little like, okay, I get it. But when he says hello, Chief, that was creepy. I liked it. I don't know, something about the way he said it. It was like this weird little, like, I don't know. I liked it. I didn't know. Yeah, the hello Dexter Morgan. Yeah, yes, that's a trope in it. But something about the way and that just, I guess, also goes to show, Michael C. Hall's acting performance. I don't know. It was creepy. I liked it.
And like, I'm not gonna blame you for it. I guess where I'm coming from is like, I feel it. I feel the finale kind of sinking, and those callbacks worked when we were like still fresh. It's kind of like when you're dating, like that dress you look good in, whatever works in the beginning. Your cute stuff like is great in the beginning, but like over time, it's like, all right, enough. Like again, this episode they show Harris and Eden, and I'm like, you guys can't be serious with this stuff.
I knew you were gonna hate that.
I laughed out loud. I was like, you guys,
When they showed that, I was about to take a photo on my screen and message it to you and be like, so did you break your TV yet?
So to add to what I'm ticked off about, when I look at it as a whole, you guys had all this time to put this together, and I'm shocked. I think we all laughed about it in the earlier episodes where they have the infrared cameras, and where all the killing took place, there was a blind spot.
Right.
I'm shocked that they called this back. I'm shocked how important ketamine is to the finale. I don't know if the blind spot is a plot hole. That's not a plot hole. There's some other word there.
It's a convenient inconvenience.
A plot contrivance and whatnot.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm shocked that they brought this back. Because it's like, hey, Dexter.
I was a little.
It's like I forgot about that, and I may have went the rest of my life forgetting that, and I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are actually bringing this back, and something that we kind of already knew, like, yeah, that looks exactly like Dexter. I don't, and I would love for the chat to help me out here. I don't know what they're talking about when she says that Dexter rubs his chin thing. I don't equate that with Dexter. I don't even know what she's talking about.
I have no clue. When he was like walking and apparently he goes like that or something, I kind of want to watch like the first couple episodes and like see, does he do that? Like maybe, and it's something we don't notice. I mean, but the original show, he was never out like going for walks. Is this something he does like all the time?
I don't know. I didn't realize it, and I guess maybe I just wasn't watching this season intently enough. But yeah, that kind of just went over my head. Angela presents Jim with the titanium screw. I guess we could stop calling him Jim, right? Angela presents the titanium screws, and then the note that Jim Lindsay killed Matt. And then I guess it's kind of like last week. I was so impressed with last week's episode. It completely went over my head that all of a sudden Dexter just was not shot in the leg. I feel like we didn't bring that up at all, but I think that goes to speak of like when an episode is good, I'm willing to overlook a lot of shit. I
forgot he was shot in the leg
right
just now,
and we didn't bring it up, and now, I don't know if, again, I don't know what you want to call this, nitpicking or plot hole or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just shocked that at no point does someone say, hey, who brought that letter? Who dropped that off in your mailbox?
Yes.
Like, we know, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I think Scott Reynolds said somewhere he was shocked that anyone thought it wasn't anyone except Kurt. Like, he's surprised that people are theorizing that it was anything. But I don't know. It just feels like that something just went by the wayside. But fine. And, like, same thing. Like, hey, who left these screws in my mailbox? Why is that not something that's, like, talked about? Again, you're going to get me nitpicking if I don't like what they're doing with the episode. God, I am so down on this episode, man. So Dexter says Matt was never in New York, and Angela knows this. She knows Kurt's been lying this whole time, including that whole thing with the caves and finding Iris. How is Kurt, who's been lying about Matt this whole time, I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm just so shocked the pivot is so much on Dexter, and it finally, after all of this, it's like, fine, bring Kurt in for questioning. He was lying, and Angela knew it. You know what I'm saying?
As somebody, I'm going to say I do like this episode, and I'm going to get to my parts here in just a little bit. I will say this, starting even last episode, a little bit of my whole complaint, though, on this is you found your dead friend. You still have all these missing people. You know deep down that Kirk did this, that he did this, and yet you're focusing on Dexter. Like, you on a hunch that he may be the Bay Harbor Butcher. She has no proof that Dexter's the Bay Harbor Butcher at that point. She has circumstantial now, and I will agree it is circumstantial now. But you're just all of a sudden, well, fuck, Kurt he got that attorney. He'll get off, so I'm not going to pay attention no more. Well, what? That doesn't really make any sense to me.
You bring me to a point that I meant to include in my my minute of that I was allotted to slam the finale. We had a lot of jokes about it, and I think it provided some good content, good humor along the way. What was the point of Olsen Dad's twin? You cannot in a show that's supposed to be good. You cannot.
A red herring for one episode. That's all he was. He was a red herring for one episode.
I think he was in 3 episodes. I think he was in a.
Okay.
Because there's a thing with the car, and then he provides the helicopter, and obviously he was.
I think the car's the second episode. The helicopter's the first episode.
He may have.
I think the car's the second episode, so it's 2 episodes. He's a red herring.
But like
3. I'll say 3.
And here's the thing about that. If you're gonna have him, at least have him arrive in the finale. Just to be like, see, he had nothing to do with it. To just never bring him back, what was the point? And that's what gets me so...
I'll give you that.
That's what makes me feel like this was so sloppily muddy, is everyone's going to have their theories, and Lord knows you had your theory. I know you think that was actually Olsen who got shot by Kurt Harrison at the end. What was the point of all of that?
I agree. I will give you 100%. It's annoying.
And if this is what they were bringing back to correct, I don't know. I don't understand how this stuff gets through. I just don't.
Because there's nothing. And yeah, I had my whole thing. Well, maybe they were connecting somehow. It was like a rich person, hunting or something like that. He did it all. Clancy. I can now. I'll get Victor and Marissa dinner later. Clancy was 100% the killer. There was nothing. Like there's no even remote tie. There's nothing like in the background there was a crossbow that was maybe the other killers. Like he was sharing this cabin with somebody else. There was no hint of another killer. So what was the purpose of having him in there other than he was a red herring? But that was a really bad waste of a red herring. Because you don't bring him back for something for like like what you're saying, a redemption or something like that. Like,
yeah, it just, and it's cool they want to tease the fans, but to me, when you get this sloppy of an ending, it just adds to the negative side.
I'll give you that. 100%. I'll give you that.
Angela tells Teddy to bring in Kurt.
Mhm.
I gotta tell you, me personally, I ignored in my notes anything involving Audrey. I just feel like she didn't matter in the end. I know there's a scene where Angela tells her about everything, and then later on, there's a scene
Her
where
and Harrison's
Harrison.
relationship doesn't add anything. I'll say that. It
So
doesn't add really anything
I'm just
to the show.
completely leaving it out because I don't. To me, it doesn't warrant.
I'm fine with that.
Logan brings Dexter a tuna sandwich, and then I feel like Logan had more screen time this episode than the entire season. They have to show. Yes, this is where they have to show Harrison one more time eating. Logan and Harrison sharing a meal. I guess a final meal here for Logan. As Logan leaves the room, Harrison gets those same puppy eyes that we saw that he had for Kurt. He just has this like twinkle in his eye, and he has the same thing here for Logan. I want to save some of this for, the big scene at the end, but I just didn't see the connection of Harrison and Logan. But you know what? I don't think it's. I guess what this show was selling me on Harrison and Logan, I just didn't buy it. I think other people did. It just didn't. It wasn't a selling point for me.
I bought it. I think it was more. Logan's obviously a damaged person, and he's looking for a fatherly figure.
Harrison.
Sorry. Harrison's he's looking for a fatherly figure. He was somewhat finding that in Clancy. I agree with you. I think that they weren't quite getting the right way with Logan. But I got it. I guess I don't know.
See, this is what I mean though. When like that finale scene happens and the Logan's death. I think Logan's death is more supposed to be symbolic. It's not supposed to be actual Logan. So I understand that. It could have been anyone, Logan there, right? It just Logan was more symbolic of Dexter's bad. But
yeah, because Logan literally did not fit his code.
Right.
One bit. Like,
well, don't get caught, but fine.
Well, okay.
I know. I could say that with everything. Yeah.
Exactly. We've discussed that multiple times on that. So.
I guess, and I don't know how far down this rabbit hole I feel like going. When I was talking about did Kurt being a serial killer and all these women even have to be in this season? Could it have been more of a father struggle where Dexter kills, whether it's, almost like merge Kurt and Logan into one character and just eliminate the season, the big bad for the season. Eliminate the Trinity, the Skinner, the DDK of this season. What are we, the Krusty Krab killer? Like, I almost wonder if this season would have been better off solely focusing on Dexter and Harrison without this whole other storyline that, like, no one even gets to see the fallout of Kurt and what he did. We see Angela's.
That's a really good point.
We see Angela's reaction, and I'm glad she got a resolution as a character for that. But like, we don't see what the town thought of everything. Is Dexter a hero for figuring this out and telling the town? Like, it just makes me think, like, instead of having an episode where Dexter is running out in the woods, could we have spent more time with, like, Harrison and Logan and Dexter being there, or just any of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we could have worked some of this season better to have that final scene impact and be more.
That's a really good point. Like,
what?
I'd never thought about that. Like, ultimately, him killing all these girls and stuff like that, and him being the serial killer, and then the killing of him and stuff like. I mean, yeah, okay, the killing of him affected Harrison, but you could have tied that into all one kill, like you said, with Logan and stuff like.
Or Logan,
yeah. Yeah, you're right. The serial killer ultimately, the aspect of him didn't matter. I actually had not even thought about wiping that story off, and you could have made a lot more of a father son emotional struggle type thing. That's a really good observation. I'd never occurred to me to do that.
Yeah, and it's
Huh.
just something I thought about. I think I said it in an earlier episode. I think this season may have worked better if Kurt wasn't a serial killer and he was just a grieving father missing his son. So you could get almost everything tied together of the father versus father plot storyline without the somewhat silly but kind of work this season missing girls,
Mm-hmm.
Krusty Krab killer, etc., etc. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Dexter and Angela are looking at the same moon, and Angela snaps and heads to the station. I think this is where she realizes the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff. It's my only.
I think this is where she realized that this is my interpretation of that, because I watched this episode twice. That scene, I am not even kidding you. When I watched this last night, I rewatched that scene 3 times because I was like, wait, what does she say? And then she's like, I think she just says like, oh fuck, or like son of a bitch or something like that. Now I don't even remember. I watched it so many times. I watched it again and again. I was like, wait, why is she saying that? And then I realized, oh, she's connecting, like, I already know this, and why haven't I called Angel? Like at that point, because that's ultimately she calls Angel right after that. And I'm like, this is what's going on. That's where I kind of started connecting that thing, which, yeah.
She snaps. She calls Batista.
Yeah.
And this is where I think me and you have a hard disagree. I think this is where we're gonna get into
so.
it.
Yep.
I am baffled that they bring in Batista. They reach the limit of, hey, I'm gonna come with all, Angela says the death they connected to the Bay Harbor Butcher. It's one death with the needle mark. She said a lot of our deaths in our town are similar to the one at Miami Metro. It's literally one death with a needle mark. On top of the ketamine, which is a complete retcon. It changes.
We have to look the other way on that. We have to look the other way at this point.
Here's what
yeah.
I am not willing to look away, only because I was willing to look away until it ended, because I thought maybe they would connect it somehow. Let me keep going.
Okay.
And then Angela sends Batista an image of her and Dexter, and we get the reaction. It's kind of something we always wanted, was Miami Metro, the 5 remaining people, to find out that Dexter's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where my mood started to change. I said, "Oh shit, they're gonna do this," because Batista grabs his LaGuardia file that, by the way, he completely ripped up and tore out in season 8, but somehow he still has all his files, and he says, "I'm coming."
Oh, see, that's not how I took that.
What?
Oh, no, continue on.
Wait,
I'll
you didn't take what?
He just happens to have a file. Keep going. I will.
I guess what I'm saying is, in season 8, he throws out the file because he says, I'm done with it, and then now he has a file. But he says, I'm gonna bring I'm coming with everything I have, and I'll be up there tomorrow. For that storyline to essentially end right there. I mean, I know she brings it up to Dexter, but for Angel to never show up again is terrible. It is showing the gun and it never going off. It's Deb being behind a piece of plastic in season 5, knowing the person she'd been searching for that whole season is right behind that piece of plastic, but she's just not going to do it because they're too scared to. To get this close to the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff and to have some finality to it and to not pull the trigger, and that's the last we see of Batista, I think it's just so... I don't like saying this term. It's blue ballsy. the one funny I
Okay.
saw afterwards was I think Masuka is having a bachelor party, and there's emails from Quinn in there too. Um, I was so ready to be like, oh shit's about to hit the fan, and I just can't believe they do nothing with it. I'm baffled that they made this decision.
I have a different take.
I just think it's bad writing, but go ahead.
Okay.
Give
All
your
right, so
side.
here's my take on this. This is just how I took, and I got this, I guess, more with my second watching of the episode. So she calls him, and he, again, maybe I'm thinking too much into this, but she calls him and is talking. Angela calls Angel, and it's I don't like these names.
Let's call
They're so
Batista.
similar. Batista. Angela. Oh my God. Angela calls Batista and is talking to him. It was like, hey, so yeah, I wanted to ask some questions about this. We have these killers and stuff like that. The way he even says, he's like, well, there was, yeah, it was, we had the Bay Harbor Butcher, but not everybody believed it. He was like, my ex-wife, she had a different theory, and she even says, oh well, let me talk to her, and oh well, she was murdered. When he says that she's murdered, the way he even says it, he's kind of like, yeah, she was murdered, but I've always questioned like how she was murdered, like what exactly happened out of that. And then when they go in, and then he's like, it was Dexter Morgan, and then that was when he pulls it up. I think everything starts clicking in his head. I think, and he pulls out that file, like you mentioned, he tore up the file. I think that is a new file. In my head, this is this new file. Remember how LaGuardia all of a sudden became obsessed with Dexter, and Dexter was potentially the Bay Harbor Butcher because Dokes, her lover, had also been murdered. This is his ex-wife. He's now married again, apparently. This is his ex-wife who was also murdered, and he has this thing in him where he's like, you know what? I don't think that her murdered. We don't know the backstory to it or anything like that, but she was murdered, and it's not matching up with what I saw. It's been 10 years, 7 years. I'm sorry, 7 years, I think. Some things aren't adding up. And that's why he has this new file on her, because he wants to find out who really murdered her. And I think that he always kind of thought Dexter might be involved somehow. Like, especially when we got to think about the ending of the last series. He saw Dexter kind of for who Dexter really was. And so I think some things started changing in his view on him and how he viewed Dexter. And that's why we're getting that. That's how I took it.
So
it's a lot. I know.
No. I guess what I'm saying. I guess my response to that is all fan conjecture theory.
It is
100%.
It is
Because
yes.
At no point in season 8 does Batista ever suspect Dexter of anything. Even at the end, when he kills Saxon, there's this is fucked up, but hey, we're gonna let you go because we're cool like that. Cool. What I guess I'd like to hear the response to then is how I am not satisfied them showing Batista and them doing nothing with it. Can you explain any of your side of the satisfaction of him, the threat of we're going to nail Dexter as the Bay Harbor Butcher, and then it not happening?
Oh, with Angela saying that? No, because I think she just says it. I think that she literally is telling him, we're going to nail you as the Bay Harbor Butcher.
No, I'm talking about Batista. They imply Batista's going to be up there, and we're going to deal with this Bay Harbor Butcher thing, and then that's where it ends. I'm saying that was satisfying to you, because that's where they lose me. I'm fine with the file. I'm fine with all of that. Like, fine, time passes and maybe your mind wanders, but the idea of here's Batista, and then here is not Batista, like it disappears. It dissipates.
I am, because I guess it's one of those. Okay, my God, how am I gonna word this? Worst case scenario, let's say this. Worst case scenario, they don't do anything. Doak stays the Bay Harbor Butcher, and for the fans' sake, Dexter's memory is he's never the Bay Harbor Butcher, so it is what it is. He's this hero that discovered the deaths and stuff like that. He may have only killed Matt, according to these people and stuff like that. Best case scenario is they prove that Dexter is who he really was, which is a Bay Harbor Butcher, the most prolific serial killer in the United States history. I don't care about either one. That's my thing. I guess it's, I'm fine with him coming up there. It doesn't bother me. Like that's where they end it, because I'm fine with them leaving that up to how you want your ending. What do you want out of this?
No.
I'm fine with
All
that.
right, then that's
Hold on.
the disagreement.
What
then.
has been your biggest complaint on this show from the beginning is that they hold your hand for every single answer, and I'm fine with it. I don't mind this. I don't mind it.
If I go with that analogy, this feels like they held my hand and they let me walk into
We'll walk on.
a New York City traffic street at 5 p.m. on rush hour, and just said, "Yeah, you're by yourself, kid. Here's my overall
Okay.
thing, and then we can move on. You can't introduce Batista, threaten the Bay Harbor Butcher, and then not follow up on it. I think that's my problem with it. It's here's the gun, and it never goes off. And that's like film writing 101. Like, you can't introduce a gun in Act 1 and not have it go off in Act 3. It's an empty, meaningless proposition. And I guess that's where we just disagree. And that's fine. If you got enjoyment out of it, I don't mean this sarcastically at all. Like, good.
Yeah.
It just like it amped up my expectation, and then as the credits rolled, I was like, "Oh wow, that was all for nothing." Fair enough. Oh boy, where am I in my notes here? So Angela takes this information and interrogates Dexter again. And again, she brings back up. She goes, and again, this is where I'm floored that the writers thought this was a good idea. She goes, I have one word for you, ketamine. And I just can't believe we are attacking and using this retcon again and again. Angela presents these.
I'll give you that.
Angela presents the needle marks, or now it's called a wheel mark. That's the first time I've heard that.
I was gonna say I've never heard that. I will say
I've
that
never
I've
heard
never
that.
heard that. Okay.
And then this wheel mark is the link between Miles, Jasper, and the Bay Harbor Butcher victims with ketamine. Angela is able to pinpoint Dexter as the Bay Harbor Butcher. And here is my other huge problem with like in Tic-Tac-Toe, Connect 4. Do you know if you do that move where it's like, if you go here, I'm going to win over here, but if you go here, I can also win here, like Tic-Tac-Toe. If you do that perfect move. But you could do it. I think you could also do it Connect 4. I think this is where this series loses me big time. And we've joked about this. Angela Bishop, a police staff of 3 cops in this town. That's all they have is 3 cops, by the way. And a secretary, or whatever she is, Esther, is able to figure out the Bay Harbor Butcher storyline. Okay. She can't figure out the Kurt and the missing girls. Like, which one is it? If you say we praised Angela for being like, hey, this is someone who's not going to fuck around with Dexter, and that was cool. Because we got all this stuff, fine, the ketamine stuff, whatever. The missing girls, and this is supposed to be a small town. At least Miami Metro was an overarching thing of Miami Metro, of Miami City. So I think that's where I'm just like, well, which is it? Is she so competent that she could be, X amount of miles away from Miami, and she could figure out the Bay Harbor Butcher case 14 years after the fact? Or can she just not see that Kurt was taking these women from the truck stop all these years? That needed to be flushed out. Which way it was, one of those things needed to break. Either she could also figure out missing girls, or she couldn't have been that competent to figure out the Bay Harbor Butcher. She outsmarted the FBI 14 years after the fact. Oh, it drives me crazy. Oh, God. I have a little fix to this if I could pull something out really quick. And it's not a fleshed out storyline. It's just something I thought of almost on the fly. Why not have Dexter chop up Matt's body, have them find it, and that's how you make the connection? Because you solve this dumb titanium screw thing in the local crematory, and you don't have to put in the ketamine rewrite. Just something I thought of real quick, and I kept saying to myself, hey, what happened to Matt's body? And it's like, oh, that's right, he put it in the thing. But the chopped up bodies would at least be something more cogent, whatever.
Yeah.
The moment I did like from the episode, that when Dexter seems to be close to being found out, he pulls out this ace up his sleeve. He says, hey, turn the camera off. Why would Angela ever turn that camera off? Fine. Says, hey.
Yeah. That one actually got me when he was like, just trying. She's like, oh, fine. And I was like, really? Okay. Follow the code. Okay.
You know what? I want to do something here, and only because we're going to get into the second half of this episode. I'm going to talk to the chat. If you want to bring up stuff from the chat, I want to say hi to people because we have a lot of people here. We have 270 people, so you're 30 people away from taking your shirt off. I'm going to go.
No, you don't. Do we really?
No.
I was like, I'm actually pulling it up. I'm like, oh, God, no.
I want to say hi to some people.
Oh, God. No.
I want to say hi to some people because Yanni, who, God, he goes back all the way to season 1 Dexter, is here. Oh, God, Yanni, if you want to tell us what country you're from again, because you are far away from us, and it's so awesome you were able to show up. Zach, I think, has been saying so much stuff that I am unable to reply. Oh, something else I realized too from the last episode. Molly's voicemail is hi, because I think Jacob just said hi in the chat, and I think that's a callback to Harrison saying die. Oh boy, word is the reboot here. Look at everyone. There's so much talk. Here I am thinking I could respond to the chat, but no, there's so much going on, and
there's so much. I've randomly pulled it up, and I'm just like, no, I'm not about to get into this. No, I'll kind of like. So, my biggest thing on her turning off the camera and then finally going out and discovering who Kirk was, I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. Like, this is kind of like what you said. It's his ace up his sleeve. Let's forget about her turning off the camera. I'm fine with doing that. That's absolutely okay. I mean, it's a little bit like, really, but I'll look the other way. So what I don't like is what this leads into, and I think Dylan actually mentioned this in the chat. But I could be wrong, but I think it was either Dylan or it was Jacob. And they had, it may have been Jacob. Sorry. That Dexter ultimately gets Logan with the oldest trick in the book with the like, oh, I'm thirsty, come on back here. And then he grabs him. That one actually kind of got me. And then the way that they go about killing Logan, again, with what you were saying, I think that would have worked out a little bit better had they like done this different storyline and stuff like that. Them killing out Logan, I was like, this is really how like Logan kills himself. Like, that's really what happened. Dexter is responsible, I guess, but Logan kills himself by accidentally shooting himself in the head with a ricochet of a bullet.
Oh, that's wrong. I rewatched it. I thought the same thing. Dexter snaps his... I thought the same thing, and I'm sorry it sounds like I'm jumping on you. It's just, I'm happy you said that because I thought the same exact thing. I thought he shot and then the bullet, and I was like, this is fucking Looney Tunes. The bullet hits the bar and goes back in his head. Dexter, when the shot goes off, Dexter kind of gets scared and he snaps his neck. He cracks.
I thought it showed a bullet hole. I thought it shows a bullet hole in his head.
That was him banging his head against the thing. You know what? Let's let the chat decide, I'm 99% because I was with you.
Because I thought that was why he had the blood on his face and stuff. When
That was
he's
him.
like, well, where's that blood?
That was him going against the fucking thing, the prison bars.
If he actually killed Logan, then I'm a little bit okay with it. But they need. I will say this then, and this is somebody that was just talking about. Well, you let the fans kind of decide. Yeah, I thought that too. It was like, oh, I fired a shot and it randomly killed him. It is kind of ironic, and I guess then that this is Dexter's last kill. That if that's who he kills and he kills on breaking his neck, that's the Bay Harbor Butcher, or whatever you want to say. The last kill is he kills the most innocent cop. Because I know that there was all these rumors going around about, Logan, like, oh, he was also like, well, he was a pedophile.
That was
or
rumors.
Like that.
That's stupid rumors. Yeah.
It ultimately comes up. This is like the most, like him and Angela are the most pure people in this entire show. And this is his last kill because it fits his code. Again, anybody can fit the code at that point because it's, you can't be caught. So that I think is kind of ironic on that part. I did not realize that that's what he did.
I was with you. I'm telling you, I was like, I was so mad because like, this is some Looney Tunes fucking Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny shit where the bullet ricochets and hits him. And I rewatched it and I was like, no, it's definitely the neck snap. And I think the chat is confirming, but
I'm seeing that.
There's
a couple people are saying
but there's
okay.
also people who thought it was Ricochet. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I thought
again. That's on there. That's a mistake on them, the makers of the show. Like you should have made that like make a crack sound because I think
they
like
did.
It made like a splatter. Oh, see, I thought it was a splatter sound. Like it was like a. Like...
Think about it though. If you were to make a bullet entering sound and a neck snapping sound, I think they're similar.
It sound almost the same.
I think Logan's head should have been cocked more because Dexter kind of has him, but regardless, it's you're not wrong in thinking that.
Okay.
So going back to what I was saying is that, and I want to go back to that Logan scene because there's something that we missed there when we talked about it. I thought this is what felt like old school Dexter kind of pulling up this ace up his sleeve about, okay, I'm almost going to be nailed. By the way, hey, you know that case that you've been putting your life on your whole career towards? I solved it for you.
25 years of your life.
Yeah. It almost felt like an admission of guilt. If you think about if Angela was, and I this is where I'll give the show. I get Angela being like, fuck everything. I'm going to go find what Dexter's talking about. Fine.
There's definitely a Deb flashback though, when she's just like,
I want to talk about that in a second. But a rational person that would have been sitting there if this town didn't have only 3 cops would have been like, hey, why did you hold this until we're about to nail you for being the Bay Harbor Butcher? Fine. I'm a little surprised they let her go by herself, but the premise of this season is it being that there's 3 cops. Yes, Iron Lake. This is Deb's, 1 of 2 appearances, and I again, anytime someone tells me they hate Deb this season, I'm so shocked because I think for all the shit I'll give this season, I fucking even the way she appears is so great because if you see she's like a shadow on Dexter's shoulder, and I was like, oh, this is like, God, I wanted so much more of this. God, best part of this season. I don't know if I could look back and say what I love about season 8. What I absolutely do love about New Blood was Deb's appearance, and I feel like I feel like this is now written in canon, and it's in stone and cannot be changed. The best episodes of this season are the episodes that Deb is in. We have very little Deb this week for me, and last week we had a lot of Deb, and that's where they fucked up for me.
Okay.
Dex, so this is where he kind of says, hey, I'm going to figure it out. I can't just talk her out of it like I can with you because I was your fucking sister and I was in love with you, right? So all of a sudden he calls Logan over for water, pulls his hand through his bar, and like we just talked about him.
Right.
If anyone's in the chat here, at my first watching, this is where I started laughing because this reminds me of the end of Saw 7, the Saw 3D one, which was the last one of the series, and then they did Jigsaw and Spiral. But that one, the last 20 minutes, so insane and so bad because it's people breaking out of prison, a jail, and there's not one cop in the entire station. It so reminded me of Saw. We may have talked. You said your end of it. I don't think Dexter killing Logan is out of character. I think it is his bullshit code of don't get caught.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's a bullshit code, but it fits his Dexter's terrible mind. So Angela gets to see all the trophies that Kurt did. I am. You know what's funny? I was saying before, like what they did with Angela, that she could solve the Bay Harbor Butcher, but not these girls. I come away respecting the character of Angela Bishop as well as, is her name Ange? What's her real name? Fuck me. Someone in the chat, tell me what her real name is, please. I come away enjoying her character and the actress. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no complaints about her. I enjoyed her arc. I like that she gets to see what has been happening to these girls all these years. Again, I have the same complaint about the Kurt Caldwell stuff. But I'm satisfied she gets to see her case through. And then she sees, runs back to the station. She calls everyone. I wonder if that was a callback to when Dokes... Here, chat, you could help. Julia Jones. Yes. I think she's great. And she was in Mandalorian, too. Chat, can you confirm or deny when Angela is like, call the FBI, call the fucking this, call the fucking that, send the whole fucking team? Was that somewhat of a callback to when Dokes finds the blood room in the hotel in season 1? And he goes, fuck it, call everybody, and he says everything. I wonder if that's a... I was unable to juxtapose those two scenes together, but I'm sure.
I'd have to watch that again. Yeah,
but
I don't remember.
I was like, I know I've heard this before in the Dexter show. So we're closing in here. The series is coming to the close as Dexter is running through the woods. If you remember, that's how we met him. You know, as New Blood opened, Dexter's running through the woods, and the same thing here, running through the woods to meet Harrison and woof. Everyone. Oh, Robert confirms it. Felt like Zach confirmed it.
You just literally go.
Guys, I don't know if I told anyone. I'm also a dog.
Was his girlfriend? Woof.
I think
Sorry.
no.
That's all I was thinking of.
No, you know what's funny? I think why I say that now is when me and Marissa text. Marissa is the person who texts more in our relationship, and she'll send like 6 texts sometimes, and we've been joking that my responses are only LOL or damn or that's crazy, and so I've had to start switching that up. So I'll say like woof, no way, with a bunch of Y's, and I think I just typed that into my notes.
No way.
Woof. So let's see where we agree on and then where we disagree.
Okay.
I think the acting and the purpose of this scene, they nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy Jack Alcott as Harrison here, and I obviously enjoy Michael C. Hall.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a painting or it's some abstract popular art where there's the guy, he's kind of kneeling down and he has the globe on his back. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah.
It's called something. That's Michael.
Yeah,
that's Michael C. Hall, and that globe is Showtime / Dexter. This show only works because of Michael C. Hall, and I am so glad I don't never get to see his face again because I'm sick and tired of his face. But amazing acting between him and Harrison here. With the way this falls out, and the way I've heard them talk about how the show was shot, where they filmed some of the first scenes we see in the series on the last day, and they filmed some of the finale on the first day. It makes me think, and this is total, put on my tinfoil hat here. They had this ending. They knew what was going to be this moment, and they worked backwards from here. They filled in everything as they went along. I feel like they forgot to make Logan more important, but they had such a good premise here of Harrison and Dexter. Because, by the way, that rifle was supposed to be in the fire. So, what happened? Fine. You guys are at your peak of... You're at your...
I could look past that because when they were outside... The only reason I'm saying this... I'm from a small town in Texas, and it was not... This sounds really, really weird to say this. It was not uncommon for people to have rifles and shotguns in the back of their truck in high school. Like, it really was not. Like, even in this day and age...
He didn't have it, though. When they left, they were on the little RTV thing. He didn't have the gun with him.
Oh.
That was in the house. He got it as a Christmas present. And they go
Remember,
to...
he went outside and shot the bottles.
And then they go to Christmas. What I'm saying is the last time we see them is they go in the RTV.
They were by his. They were by. Wait, the rifle was in the side by side. That's what those things are called. They're called side by sides. But
I thought it was left in the house. As we're talking, I feel like it's really silly that I'm harping on this.
I know, but I in my head, I guess it was. I was like, oh well, they were shooting at that stuff. They put it in the back of the truck because
fair enough.
That's where, yeah.
Fair enough. I'll fine. I'm being a nitpicky bitch there. So we agree on the acting and the premise here. I am actually surprised they didn't do what Jen said. They didn't do the kill room with the plastic and everything. Like it's kind
I'm
of
happy they didn't.
Really?
Happy they didn't.
I
like this. I like this so much better. I like it so much better.
I say I disagree, but I wonder if they did it, would I be complaining? You know what I mean? Like
See, I would have been.
I feel like I wouldn't have been, but yeah, I guess that's
That's funny how I know you and me would have been different.
a history thing would I know. Dexter is begging Harrison to go, and Harrison sort of puts together that the blood on Dexter is, and at the same time, like, hey, you called me from Logan's phone, and thankfully Dexter admits to it, even though he says, I'll explain on the go, and this is where Harrison turns. Let me get through some of this and we can talk about it. Harrison tells Dexter to turn himself in. Dexter decides to leave, and then he cocks the rifle. Okay. This is where we get the callback from Harrison. Open your eyes and look what you've done. Close to one of the first few lines of dialogue of the series, now being repeated back to Dexter. I think I've said this already, but these callbacks work when the show's working for me. When the show is not working for me, I find these moments cringy. It's so weird to not like a scene of how we got there, but to enjoy the actors and the story plot of it. What took me out huge... Nope. That's a lie. Afterwards. Did we ever talk... I think we did. We've talked about Clyde Phillips, the way he would have ended the series, where Dexter is getting the lethal injection and the room is supposed to be all of his victims. So you see Trinity Killer, you see Brian Moser, the Skinner, whatnot. I think we get an alternate version of that where it's the people Dexter's harmed. So we get Rito, we get Deb, Dokes, LaGuerta. And this is what pisses me off, because this is supposed to be your finale, and this is what you're supposed to be nailing. You're supposed to land a dismount. You're doing all the flips in the air. You're being the gymnast, and you're supposed to land on your feet and everything. Why is Lundy in there? It doesn't make any sense. And it bothers me because that's your ending and you know they wrote it and you know they did editing and it doesn't make sense why Lundy's in there. Please, someone in the chat, explain to me why Lundy's in there. Lundy came to Miami because of Trinity. Obviously, first because the Bay Harbor Butcher. When Lundy is killed, at the time, it's by Trinity's daughter, who we have no idea about. And I'm almost positive at that moment Dexter is just finding out about Trinity. It makes no sense. No sense.
That's fair.
And
That's fair.
I want someone to at least...
I'll tell you right now what I wish they had done, and they probably couldn't have done it either. Cost, scheduling, timing, whatever. To be honest, what I wish they had done is when he's aiming the rifle at Dexter, and instead of these, because I don't, in TV shows in general, and this is where I'm gonna not nitpick, but I'm gonna like shit on this episode for this part of it. I don't like when you do flashbacks to prior episodes. It's lazy. I just don't like it. The filming doesn't match, like the quality. Filming changes over time, right? Like the way that they film stuff and stuff like that, it just changes. When it shows Dokes and he's doing the little two eyes and stuff like that, I'm like, well, that's a clip that I could get off of the internet. Like it just doesn't quite work out and stuff like that. What I wish they had done personally, but I don't know what that would have cost, is behind Harrison, they had LaGuardia, Dokes, Deb. They had them just like standing there, not doing anything. They just had them and him looking at them, and people that were innocent people, because these were innocent people that he in an indirect way caused the death. Because you could have them and you could do like digital editing and stuff like that to make them look like they did in the show and stuff like that. Had Rita, you could have had Rita right behind Harrison. You could have just had one fucking actress standing right behind Harrison, like just standing there, and then him staring at it going like, like there's innocent people, I've caused this life, or whatever he says. You could have had something like that and it would have worked, but they didn't do it.
I guess same thing like you said. I don't think that changes anything. I think
it would have changed a little bit.
I think the flashbacks work for me, except Lundy, because it is a short little trip down memory lane, and again, it's so funny how they did it. Only footage from seasons 1 through 4. The flashbacks works because it takes me out of it, but it's like, oh yeah, Dexter's responsible for Dokes. That's right. Dexter's responsible for LaGuardia. Dexter's responsible for Rita, obviously. No idea why Lundy's in there. I think they show someone else. I can't recall.
I get the Lundy,
Deb.
like I get the complaint on Lundy. I guess it was kind of like, well, I guess in my head I didn't harp on Lundy. I was like, oh hey, I remember him. It's kind of like one of those random things. Like, I know this show, I know that guy. Like, like maybe that it didn't bother me that much. Now when you're bringing it up, thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, he literally had nothing to do with Lundy's death, like nothing.
Yeah.
But that, I guess, doesn't bother me that much. What does bother me, I don't like flashbacks in shows. I think it's lazy. I think it's lazy and I think it's cheap.
Yeah. For someone who says they like the ending, Colton, I don't know, man.
No. I still like it. I don't think it's I will say this. I don't think it's perfect. I don't at all. I will not say this is perfect. It's better than what we had 7 years ago, and it's okay.
Let's finish the scene. Let's finish the scene because there's still more here. Harrison, sort of begging to be normal. Dexter finally sees his way. They, agrees. Let's go get killed. Dexter says this is the only way out, and then, replies to Harrison, points to where to shoot. Shot taken. Deb is there to hold his hand. If I would have told you 10 years ago in the middle of season 6, like this is how it's going to end, I would have loved to see. I would love to be in a travel machine and just being like, hey, there, go ahead.
I had a question on that. So Deb's holding his hand, right, whenever after he's shot. Does she pull her hand away and is just kind of like, in a way, I kind of feel like I saw that. Like she pulls her hand away, like it's kind of like, no, you still have to die on your own.
So it's funny you say that, and I'm pulling it up right now, so I'm going to try and talk at the same time. You know what's funny about that is people started talking about how at some point Harrison off screen, well, on screen, but he just sort of goes like, he's talking with Dexter and he just goes, shut up. Like the way he turns and people are like, oh my God, Harrison has a dark passenger. I'm pulling it up as we speak. I'm almost positive it's Dexter dying. So his hands sort of slips. But let me, as you're talking, I'll sort of pull it away. But
because the first time I watched it, that was what I saw, is him dying, and then his hand just kind of falls out of her hand, like, you're dead, you don't have a grip anymore, you fall down. But then when I watched it a second time, it looked more like Deb's hand like forcefully pulls away, and it was in my head. I'm kind of like more like, well, did they kind of mean that more like in his head, like Deb is pulling away, like, no, you still caused, you did this, you have to die alone.
I'm watching it as we speak. Dexter is this is the segment where I call explaining what I'm watching. Dexter's on the floor and his eyes. Okay, so he has the hand. Deb has two hands on him. Puts the hand over one hand. Oh, you're right. Deb pulls away. No, you're right.
Okay, so that was what I kind of like that.
You know
it
what?
Was kind of a
great point. Yeah. I totally see it
and
now.
Right after that, his hand falls on the ground, but it was like she pulls away, and I was like, is that kind of a little subtle thing? Like, you did this to yourself. Like, I'm there for you. I love you. I'm holding your hand.
But you need
have
to die
on your own.
Good point. Good point. Colton gets another point. That's Colton 2, Victor 0. I really have to.
No, it's like Colton. It's like Colton 2, Victor 5,000 at this point. Whatever.
The good here for me, Dexter finally gets what he deserves for after all these years, poisoning everyone around him, harming everyone, and he always lives scot-free. My biggest complaint, you guys heard me bitch and complain that Dexter suffers no consequences during the 8-season run, and that I've said it so many times. Rita dies, and within a few episodes, we're right back to the same Dexter with Lumen back, and season 6, he's almost never been better. I think he even says that, or maybe that's season 8. So I am absolutely so happy that the Dexter character is shot. And we're talking thematically or metaphorically here. I'm not sure. The kill your dad trope is like literally happening, right?
Right.
Even I feel like as early as this news got announced, I feel like this was the ending. How we get here, I never knew. But Harrison kills Dexter, and for all this shit, I'll say this scene works. I think the bad for me is it's odd that the Logan death is what makes him snap. Something had to make Harrison snap. I just don't like that it was Logan that all of a sudden he realizes, hey, would my mother even be dead if it wasn't for you because of Trinity? Would Aunt Deb be dead? Like, how does he even know that? But he's saying what we're all thinking. I just don't like. It's like 2 + 2 = 4, and Harrison's yelling 4, 4, 4. I don't think he knows what 2 + 2 is. That's like my problem. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
The math in school, show your work. All we have is the answers, and the answers are great and they're right. But Harrison's not showing the work. Like, it's such a fast pivot for me that it's like, by itself, I love it. I love it. I love what Harrison's saying. In this alternate reality where I love this finale, I love Harrison saying, open your eyes and look at what you did. Great mirror, great season 1 to season 9, flashback and everything. There's probably something that I've not been able to figure out where there's probably some meaning behind Harrison wearing that jacket. I just don't know what it is. But it all works for me. It's the road we took to get there is just where they lose me as a show. And that's where my real disappointment lies. I am not satisfied with the road we took to get here, but once we arrived, I'm happy. I talked a lot. Go ahead with what your...
So to answer the question on the jacket, I actually do have a little bit
Oh,
of something
cool,
to say on that.
cool.
This is again, and this is where I think you and me are different viewers on stuff. I will watch something and I will interpret my own things into it. Like, well, this is what they could maybe mean. This is what they could maybe. Again, they're not like deliberately saying, and that obviously doesn't always work though. Like for a lot of shows, but anyways, I go into it. I think the jacket, because he was given the jacket at the beginning of the episode, the jacket represents him being accepted into this community, and that jacket represents him finally being a normal, quote unquote, a normal person.
That's good stuff.
And because I did notice that he wears this jacket the entire episode, and I thought that was kind of strange. I was like, well, why is he wearing like it was a little odd. I was like, yeah, I get it. You get your fresh pair of kicks. You want to wear them everywhere and stuff like that. That's cool. But this is a Letterman jacket. Like, you've never worn this before, but you're wearing it everywhere. That was a little bit strange. And again, he's wearing it when he leaves at the end of it. But my dad, I finally found my dad and stuff like that. I feel accepted. This is where I've always wanted to be. And my dad now is wanting to take me from this. Now, are you going to kill somebody, just because they're wanting to take you from this place you're accepted? No. But I think that that's a part of it. It makes him realize I'm not who I thought I was. I have, again, I've said this before, Harrison has a lot of problems, and he's got even more that are about to come up mentally.
That's the other part to all of this.
Season 2 is just him on a couch, like talking to a therapist. That is all season 2 is.
That's part of it, and I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you here, but the whole thing is like, hey, Harrison, I want you to be normal. I don't want you to be anything. I don't want you to have these dark tendencies that I have. I want you to live a normal life.
Yeah.
Can you please kill me? Like, what?
I don't want you yet.
You will be. What the show is telling you is Harrison's going to kill Dexter, and that is his dark passenger gone. All those urges he has gone. That's what the show's trying to do here.
And I don't agree with that.
Oh
no, I agree. No, I agree. That's what the show's showing. I agree. That's what the show's showing, but that's not how it works.
Right, and then what they're doing is like, just kill this man who, by the way, it's your father. And by the way, you found him because you wanted connection, you wanted answers for everything. Kill him, please, and then you're allowed to go be normal.
No, I was expecting when he shoots Dexter, the next moment I was expecting him to fall on the ground like crying and like I can't believe I had to do this, but instead it's like what happens? It's just like, oh, Angela shows up and I got to get in a truck and I got to get out of town, but I'm gonna wave goodbye to some people. That part I was a little like, well, that's.
Let me add some more here. So, first of all, and I've been making this joke all day, so I'm gonna make it again. Angela shows up.
Mm-hmm.
How or why she knows exactly where they are? This is the shit we've had to swallow from Dexter over 106 episodes, where she just shows that they just know where they are and everything that just happened.
Good point.
I suppose you can make the logic leap of, first of all, this town is so small, and she eventually would have figured out where the white deer shit happened. Oh. Angela, with zero concrete evidence, meaning Dexter used to do his kills and he was able to match blood to the scene, and Dexter was so, at least earlier Dexter, right? He knew everything about this here. Angela, with zero evidence that Dexter/Jim is guilty of anything besides faking his death, which, if she accepted that earlier, as far as Angela knows, Dexter/Jim is as clean as a whistle.
Mm-hmm.
Shows up and just tells Harrison, "Here's $20. You're good to go." No, 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 no. Oh my God, I'm so mad.
No, I'll give you that. That part, I'll give you that. I was like, that really? And don't even get me in. Don't even get me in that she's wiping down the rifle and stuff like that. So what is she's like, officer involved shooting. Ma'am, he was shot with a rifle. You can't sit there and say, is she gonna put her handgun to the wound?
Right. I was thinking that too. How you sell that? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, after she's wiped it down with her hands and stuff like that. I was like, hold on. Don't even get me into like, well, it was also loaded with bullets. You have to go through the magazine. You have to wipe down all the bullets in the magazine because they're all going to have his thumbprint from putting them in and stuff like that. And you have a whole other thing. I'll look past part of that, but that gun and the officer involved shooting, I was like, this is not that. I'll give you
for
100%.
someone, for Angela, who is so determined for Dexter to stick something to Dexter. And she is a woman of code. She has morals. She's a cop, and she lives by the code, the moral code that we all live by, right? Like, you don't fucking kill someone else and everything. Mm-hmm. This woman shows up, and she's just like, cool, just go. It's crazy. This is what drives me. This is honestly what, like, I feel like this is what I would have been saying if we were doing this live in 2013. When Angel, Batista, and Quinn just let Dexter go. It's like, you guys this is insane. I can't believe this was written in a writer's room and they all got together and they all said yes. All based on circumstantial evidence. God. I have to move. I have to let this go, but go on.
And I think this is where it's the difference with you and me on this I don't like it. But I guess I look back on what we originally had for an ending.
And that's fair.
And it's like, if this was the original ending, if we take season 8, never happened. Season 8 never happened other than the ending of season 7. Deb dies or whatever, and we get the hurricane. That's the only common denominator we have in all of this. And then this is how the show originally ended. I would be like, I've seen better, I've seen worse. But I think because what we originally had and what I'm seeing now, I'm like, that's what's making it better. It's like, what's the saying? Like, like I ate something like tastes like garbage or whatever, like I ate something that was bitter and I'm eating something that isn't really all that great, but it's better than what I've had, like that's.
It's a great question of what's better, the season 8 finale or this. I feel like my answer is too tainted by what I felt this episode. Like, I'm too close to the ending. I'm just about 24 hours away. But
I'm really curious how you're next week. I'm really curious next week.
That's a good conversation for next week.
I could be in here next week going, yo man, fuck this episode.
So far in the chat, Roxanne and Trinity Mitchell are saying 8. Ed Banger, I don't know how to do do I know how to do a poll here? I don't know how to do a poll on mobile. I have it up on my iPad. If we combine if you combine the scores from the season 8 ending and New Blood ending, you get a solid 9. That's funny. That's our friend Yanni.
Hell yeah.
As Harrison drives away, we get a tour saying goodbye to Iron Lake, and the voiceover of Dexter's letter that he wrote to Hannah. It kind of seemed like Harrison showed up to Iron Lake being clueless about everything, and it feels like Dexter explained everything in that letter. I think I'm so tired of shitting on the show that I just let this go by me, but the two doesn't add up, but fine. I'm just gonna let this go. That's how, and then our episode ends again with the tour of Iron Lake and Harrison driving away. Couple things here. Same thing I think I said for season 8. Thematically, it's good. I'm repeating what I said for season 8. It's a good idea, executed poorly. Again, I feel like they had the ending written and they worked backwards. That's sort of like my overall complaint of New Blood. Also, you cannot deny Breaking Bad's finale influence on this? Do you see it? Do you agree?
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. The only thing that Breaking Bad had better than no, I don't want to get into that because I'm not
Yeah, no,
gonna-
no. We'll be here forever.
I've
Yeah.
compared them once before, and it's not fair. You cannot compare them. But yes, absolutely, there's influence. Yes.
You know, in 2013, when the finale, I remember being in my apartment in New York and just having this pitting feeling of my stomach because I think I leading up to the season 8 finale, I was just like, I know something crazy is gonna happen. Harry's gonna show up and he's alive, or fucking Dokes is gonna show up or anything, and you held that hope until the very last moment when he showed up as a lumberjack, and you're like, no way, and it's like, oh no, what happened? I got that same feeling again of just like,
Really?
like, oh no, because you know why, like where my mind was as Harrison is driving away. I have this like eensy teensy thing in the back of my head. Batista's gonna show up and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still waiting for that Batista thread that's hanging out there, and they
See, I'm not going to
dropped
see
it.
opposite. You know what I expected? I did expect this, and I guess I was glad it didn't happen. Is he shoots Dexter, and when Dexter's laying there, and then the blood's pooling and stuff like that, and then Angela comes in, she tells him to leave, and she's wiping it down. I half expected him to like grab Angela like a fucking Freddy Krueger thing or something like that, right? And I was like, God, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Like, that's all I could think is they're going to let him live no matter the fuck what.
Ooh.
You know, like, it's like he was such a good shot that he shot just past the right artery. And so it was just a little bit of blood. And I was like, please don't let it fucking do this. And because I was expecting such a bad fucking idea, it didn't happen. It's like maybe why I liked it so much. I was like,
Even with like Yanni saying, like, I totally expected a post-credit scene. I think that's where my mind was too. Same thing in 2013, a post-credit scene of whether it's just
I actually did too. Yes.
Harrison walking in a garden and Audrey's pregnant. You know, it's a stupid ass theory. And Clyde Phillips said Dexter is dead. Dead. He is not coming back. If he comes back as a ghost, that's obviously something they can do, but he is dead. Like Jen just said in the chat, I saw some theories today of like the reason why Dexter pointed to right here is because he has Kevlar. And I was like, oh my God, don't start. And you know what I said? After tonight, I'm going to edit this episode and I am done with Dexter until we do our Zoom next week. My mind.
What's funny when you talk about the Kevlar is on his shirt, you can see a square outline cut out. Go and look at it. You know what I think it is? I think it's a prop department because you can see the pulsing.
Blood. Yeah. That's really funny. Oh man. I'm sure I have more to say, and I've expressed my disappointment when they did the flashbacks. I think where my heart went to, and because this was an emotional episode, regardless of how you feel about everything, it was an emotional episode, especially, we finally saw Michael C. Hall die. I think the Dexter show, and almost why I decided to do Dexter after finishing 6 Feet Under, is my mind, my heart, my everything is in love with seasons 1 through 4. That the Miami thing, thinking Dexter could get caught, the Trinity, the Bay Harbor Butcher, the Harrison's here and Brian Moser and all this stuff. I think my heart just is always is wishing for that, and because it happened when they do the flashbacks and there's the, like you said, the footage is gonna look different. Mm-hmm. I think it's where I realized like the reason why I love Dexter and why I have this shirt and why I have this podcast and why I was so anxious to talk to Scott Reynolds is my nostalgia lies 2006 through 2010, and everything after that. I think I was just chasing it like an addict. Like I was just chasing that high of just getting there again. And 2 times they tried to correct it. Well, one time they had it and they tried to correct it. And it's just not possible. My mind lives in season 1 through 4. And I think that's why I'm so upset with this ending. Like I think it's why I like last week's episode so much. It was sort of an old school Dexter. And like Scott Reynolds said, it was a love letter to Dexter.
Mhm.
This ain't it. This, for me, this finale, this ain't it. I think
That's fair.
next week will be a good conversation that, and if other people are going to talk and express their love/hate, I'm curious. I think, I don't mean to say this to undermine you, but one of the best questions you asked today was, I wonder how you feel next week, because that's a great question. That's all I have to say.
I am curious. I'm curious on it.
Any parting shots you want to take over Dexter, because this is going to be the last people hear from us. I guess we're all gonna
knew how to drive, because he's is driving across the line, like he's driving in the middle of the fucking road like an asshole whenever he's leaving.
This fucking guy
really pissed me off.
It's a good point. Here I am pissed about the finale. This guy kills his father, and he just thinks he could drive anywhere he wants. He's driving upside down. The camera's.
No, literally when he's driving away, he was like driving in the middle of the road. I was like, what an asshole! Like, what are you doing?
Shit. So
I liked it. Like I said,
you did.
It's not my favorite. It is not my favorite
For
episode
someone
by any means.
For someone who liked it, Colton, you agreed with me a lot. We had some big disagreements.
I think it's how you and me interpret the disagreements. That's the thing.
Fair.
I think that's where it is. Is it's how you and me are interpreting the disagreements that is what makes it a different experience for both of us, which is cool. Which it maybe is why this episode is so split. It's how people interpret it. So again, I will take this over season 8. I will take this whole run. I will take this whole fucking run over season 8 any day. Any day, I will take it. I will take this ending. Like, I'll take the ending. I'll take episode 1. I'll do all of it over season 8 any day. That's me. And every single person that's out there talking bad about Deb in this show, fuck off.
Oh yeah, that's you all can go with fucking that guy and just go fuck each other. I want to say one thing too, and this has been on my mind regarding 6 Feet Under. I think I've said this a couple times as we did season 7 and season 8. I think I matured as a viewer, and some of the stuff that I was completely okay with earlier seasons from Dexter just grinded on me later. So I think if I go back and watch 6 Feet Under now, I have to be so missing the point on some stuff on 6 Feet Under, because my entire life has changed from when I did that podcast. I did that podcast. I was single. Today I have I have a wife. I have a kid. And like my entire life is yours too. I mean, we did the podcast.
Yeah.
I think you got engaged during the podcast. Like, I'm curious.
I did.
I'm curious to rewatch that show, and I'm wondering, like you said, I'm wondering how Dexter changes in my mind. We're rambling here, and I want to save some of this for next week. If there's, I'm curious what this big announcement is tomorrow. I'd be shocked if they announce a season 2, but we'll get there.
What are you gonna do? My thing is what are you gonna do with Harrison? I don't think he has a dark passenger. I don't think he likes to kill. He doesn't have the need to kill. I don't think he wanted to kill Dexter, but he felt he had to. Like, I don't. If they make a Harrison, a show Harrison or whatever you want to call it, I'm not in. I'm not watching it. I'll say it right now. I'm not gonna watch it. It's nothing on the actor or anything like that. I think he's great, but I'm not watching it.
My gut reaction, and I didn't want to say this on the episode because I feel like I'm the boy who cried wolf. I did a whole podcast episode. It was like 3 minutes, but I was really down. I was in the middle of the pandemic. I was like, guys, I'm done with Dexter. I don't want to do it anymore. And then they were like, Dexter, new season coming next year. And I was like, red alert, Colton, get here ASAP. But how I feel right... Oh my God, Robert, you caught that. I did that joke and no one else caught it. Yeah. As I sit right now, I don't want to devote time to this show and the podcast, even though I love the chat and I'm almost more excited for next Saturday. I almost want someone else to take over the podcast, and I want to be the guy in the chat saying Dexter dies of COVID. We'll talk about that another time. Everyone in the chat, again, please email me. I think I have most of your emails, but definitely please join us next Saturday. Let's talk, let's hang out, let's drink, let's make fun of Dexter. Guys, we love all of you.
Little surprises all the way around.
Oh, shit. All right, I stopped the recording because that was a perfect way to end it. God, that's funny, and it's only for the live stream. That's what's funny about it.
Oh my god.
And the email is diggingdexter@gmail.com. I have some of your emails already, but
I gotta go pee so bad. I'm surprised I made it through this episode.
wait, Roxanne's niece said thank you for keeping your clothes on. Go ahead, go pee.
Thank you, Trinity. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Go, because then I'm gonna go. Hello, chat. Hello. Thank you for sticking by. I'm sorry if I was a little harsh. I feel like me and Jacob would verbally fist fight about what we agreed and disagreed. I mean this with all sincerity, and this is for anyone else in the chat. This is not on the podcast anymore, so this is just us talking here. If you enjoyed the finale and the series as a whole, I enjoy that you'd enjoyed it. I think, like I was talking, I think my mind is always going to be with the earlier seasons of Dexter, and everything after this is like me just trying to chase that. If you ever watched Breaking Bad or The Wire, you're always like chasing that first time high of like, wow, this is so great. I think that's what I've been chasing this whole time. So, Jacob, you enjoyed it. Awesome for you. Man, I would almost have to go back and read the chat because there was so much shit going on. You guys were talking. But yeah, I think next week will be fun. I'm going to drink. If you guys are not going to reveal personal stuff and you guys want it to be a podcast episode, I'll record it and I'll throw it out there. I always used to like when my name was out there on podcast episodes. Maybe that's why I'm doing this. But yeah, if you guys all collectively agree, anyone who talks wants it to, I'll just slap on the Dig and Dexter intro and let you guys share it. I'll try to. No, I'm not going to time mark it. That's too much work for me. But yeah. Yes, thank you, Yanni. Thank you for joining. Colton, stay here. Talk shit to. I think Jacob said you suck, but if you want to talk about
Jacob sucks.
I'm gonna download these episodes and I'm gonna go use the bathroom too. I just got your email, Tara. Thank you. The Zoom will bring La Pasión more than New Blood. That's funny. I'll be right back.
All right. If you're gonna be on, yeah, I see Yanni over there. Yeah. Now, I want to say cameras on, but that's just because I'm like that guy that has a meeting and stuff like that. So, yeah, I like to have the cameras on. I don't know. It makes it sound like I'm really talking to a real person. I can't wait to actually hang out with Jacob. I think we're going to be the newest best friends. I agree, Roxanne. It was a lot of fun doing that.
I'm gonna go suck on my robot dick real quick. Trinity Mitchell, I got your email. Is Roxanne still here? I need Roxanne
Yeah.
to say, tell me she's here, because Brianna, you missed the whole
Jen-
thing. We were talking about you the entire time. Okay.
Jen says that she doesn't mind the cameras and she's gonna be at work. I'm just imagining Jen like on camera, like helping like some lady give birth.
And
she's
as
like,
as she's talking, she's like, "Excuse me, can you please be quiet?" So listen, Dexter, right? Ed Banger got your email. Awesome. What did I want to say to Roxanne? Oh, Colton, I almost demand you have to watch The Sopranos, because for some reason I started a rewatch of Sopranos. I'm in season 5, but I hopped around a few episodes. So Colton, there's this character Artie. I don't even know how to explain him. He's just funny. He's so ridiculous, and he's such like a. I don't even know how to explain him, or Roxanne will know. And But Roxanne, this is what I wanted to tell you. I was laughing hysterical. It's the penultimate episode of the series, and Carmela and Artie are talking with Tony and what's the other girl's name? What's Artie's wife's name? Are you fucking kidding me? Whatever her name is. It's a specific name, but Roxanne, you could tell me. And Carmela and Tony's like, yeah, Meadow's gonna go into law, and then they'll go like, oh wow, and Artie goes, he looks like he mimics signing the Constitution. It is so fucking funny. Tara, I'm so glad you agree with me. Ed, you're so wrong on Artie. He's so Charmaine, that's her name. When they say she's going to law, and Artie goes, oh, and he pretends writing. I rewinded that scene 10 times and made Marissa watch, like the same way your kid probably makes you watch a dance move they do or their toy. I sat Marissa down and I made her rewatch, and she just goes, ah. I know that's not funny at all for you, Colton, because you have no idea what I'm even doing.
Nope.
But God, it's so funny. Artie is in a show that is it's intentionally funny so many times. Artie's the best. I
need to watch it. Like I know I do.
It's
just
so
like
good. It makes me mad.
you know what's
It makes me
bad?
mad Dexter's not as good.
And what's dumb is the other night I was like, I need to watch something. I was like, I'm getting to the point, like it's in that weird little like season right now where a lot of the shows I watch are either on hiatus and stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, I need to like rewatch something, or I need to have something in the background. And I was like, what should I watch? I was like, you know what? I was like, I do need to give Sopranos a second shot. I'm gonna watch Westworld for a third time. And so I've restarted Westworld because I love it, and I can't get to the third season. I keep watching season 1 and season 2, and then I stop. And I was like, I'm gonna reach. I need to stop with Westworld. I need to watch Sopranos. I got to.
It's so good, man. It's oh, hold on. I didn't download your track yet, so don't. I'm downloading your track, yeah. Wow, Yanni has a lot to. Yes, Jenna, just got your email. Thank you. I don't even know if she's still here.
Actually, I have my ears here.
Hold on, what?
If he has something fancy, I don't know.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry, I missed everything.
I just saw that somebody was like, Colton should get an earring like Artie, and I was like, I do have my ears pierced.
I have
don't know what his earring is,
I have my ears pierced too, and I actually have 2 in my left ear, which back in the day that was considered the gay ear, if you remember that.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yes, I saw Michael Imperioli's going to be on the White Lotus. Yes, I saw that. It's curious, how that goes. How
Actually, what's funny is I put in earrings the other day. I hadn't put them in so long.
I do
was
it
like, I wonder if
randomly
they're still-
just to kind of freak out Marissa.
And then my mother-in-law freaked out. She didn't know my ears were pierced. I put in Meg's earrings.
Yo, Ed, I'm so with you. I think Sopranos is one of the funniest shows. This is me just talking random shit, and then we could end this because I gotta put this all together. In the episode where Junior keeps going to funerals, and he's at the little kid's funeral who died in the pool, and he's eating, and he goes, this chicken's spicy. It's fucking so funny. Oh God, Sopranos is so good. Um. Oh man, I'm sorry, Colton. This is like in the office when Michael Scott's like, "Oh, inside jokes. I'd love to be a part of it one day."
I'd like to be a part of an inside. I'd love to be a part of an inside joke one day. That'll be fantastic.
Man, it's so good, man. Well, guys, I have to go edit. Thank you for all sending your emails. As we get closer, it basically will depend on what time my child goes to bed. But if anything, maybe like I said, I'll start the Zoom. I'll let all you guys hang out, and then I'll come and just be the court jester and just because if we all talk at one time, I feel like everyone's gonna be talking over each other. So maybe we'll kind of whatever way the Zoom's set up.
I'm gonna see if I can get Grace on for a minute, so because it'll be right before her bedtime. So I think that'll be fun. She's finally talking. She'll say the alphabet for y'all. You'll be so impressed.
Oh my God, that's so good. That's so cool.
Yeah, she's finally started. She does it. It's the A B C D E H I. And I'm like, good enough. Let me applaud you, little girl.
It'll be too late for Maurice to be on because the whole goal is get him. Like if we did the Zoom at 6:00, but I have stuff going on that day. But if you're friends with me on Facebook, you've seen my little child. Zoom party fart too. Nailed it, Tara. That's a perfect way to end this. Guys, thank you all. You're all awesome.
I can't thank y'all enough.
And yeah, the best thing we ever did was take this shit to Zoom because look where we ended up. And I'm being genuine when I say this. I'm excited for next Saturday. I think Marissa's gonna join too. She'll just be on her phone. There won't be that weird echo. That'll
be fun.
If you guys want me to stream it, I will. I don't see the reason why, but who's gonna be here that's not watching it, whatever. But regardless, we'll talk all about it next week. Guys, let me go edit. Thank you all. Let's fucking hang out. Let's hang out next Saturday.
Peace out.
I'm gonna end this Zoom now.